Okay, the name of the war you were in?
Dad, World War II. What war were you in?
World War II,
Okay. What branch of the military were you in?
the U.S. Navy.
Okay. And what rank did you hold?
Well, I went in as a apprentice seaman, but I came out petty officer third class.
Oh, okay. Did you serve in more than one area?
Served 3 years and 3 months, actually.
Okay. And when did you enroll or enlist?
I enrolled January the 8th, 1943.
Okay. What made you choose the Navy?
Well, first I tried to go in the Marines because I got a brother that got killed in a car accident, and that was his goal, you know. And then when I got 17, I went to a recruiting station in the Navy for the Marines, and they wouldn't take me because I wasn't 18. And you had to be 5'7". They wanted good-looking guys, you know, husky and all that stuff. The Marine was just being created then. They didn't have any Marines, just a few. And I didn't fill the bill, you know. So I was kind of downhearted. I walked out of there. I saw this was in the post office. The recruiting stations used to be in there. I go around the corner, that's a picture of Uncle Sam pointing a finger right up there, you know. And the Navy need you. So they need me, I'll give it a shot. I went in and the recruiting officer, first he says, we got to give you a physical. I said, okay, so I gave me a physical, and he came back and he says, I don't know how to tell you this, but he says, we can't take you. I said, what's wrong? He says, you have a broken shoulder blade, which was in the accident that my brother got killed. And I says, but that was 3 or 4 years ago, and I says, I've been working on a farm ever since in construction. It never bothered me. Why should it bother me now? He says, he felt bad, you know. He says, you're really serious about that? I says, yeah, I have to. And he looked at me, he put his arm on my shoulder. He said, okay, he says, I didn't see that. He said, I said, see what? And he looked at me and he said, I didn't see that. And he says, we'll take you on.
Was it difficult? Did you notice it once you enlisted? Did you start feeling your shoulder more, or?
Yeah, well, I was in the car where my brother got killed, and I got thrown out of the car and landed on a big rock, you know, and it shattered that shoulder all around, front to back.
Did it affect your time?
Now, it was bad weather. I feel a little bit, but I keep working with it. So I told him, I says, it was okay. So it's all right. He says, we'll take you on.
Good job.
So that's how come. But
Yeah.
I wanted up from the Marines. I'm just about walking 50 feet. But it was okay. It was a good choice. He says, you'll make a good sailor. So good luck to you. So
Okay.
that's it.
All right. What was the training like? The training when you first got in?
Well, first we went to the boot camp training in Newport, Rhode Island. That was a 12-week training. And it wasn't too bad, but the thing is, the language barrier was there. I was just got off the farm and we just spoke in French, you know.
Yeah.
But I made it through. And then from there, they sent us to receiving station in Lido Beach, New York. And we stayed there for 10 days, and they were finding places for you.
Oh,
Different ships were being built, and that's how I ended up with the USS Kidd.
Oh, okay.
When she was commissioned right in Brooklyn Harbor. I was nervous and all, you know.
Yeah.
But it was okay. And then after that, they have to take it a little kid from the farm that could barely speak English and train you for something, whatever was best suited for you.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they decide, but somehow they picked me out of a bunch and they shipped me to USS Wyoming,
Oh, wow.
an old battleship. And they train you for gunnery.
Okay.
So they had these big 5-inch guns in it, and that's where I started my training.
Wow. Okay. Do you remember your first day in uniform?
Well, it was cold. I remember that.
Do you remember how you felt or what was happening?
Uniform, they had 2 sizes, too big, too small.
No?
You know, that stockings that come up to your knees. Other guys have some that they couldn't even put their foot in it. Or we swap clothes together, you know.
That's smart. That's smart.
But finally wound up with something to fit.
Yeah. Well, good. That's good.
And then the training, you know.
Yeah.
And it was in wintertime, out in the cold. Yeah, cold, near the ocean, you know.
Yeah.
And after the training was done, then I took a few swimming lessons. Figured if I'm going to go out to sea, I never learned much of that.
Practice.
Oh.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember any of your instructors from training or?
One was, well, the guys training you was only and the enlisted men too, so, but you had no way of knowing what kind of his ranks was. He didn't want him to know. I guess it had to do with he had to pretend to be somebody else that he wasn't, you know.
Oh, okay.
So he had to put a book show about the training, you know. But I remember his name was Conklin, and we always call him Sir, anyway, Mr. Conklin, and he was nothing but a second-class seaman. But he had to build a Navy and a Marine Corps fast, you know, for the war, you know.
Yeah.
And after that, let's see, from there we went out to sea to bring the ship in. Now we were broken in, now we had to bring the ship in. It's a new ship, and they put us at the coldest place they could find, Boothby Harbor, Maine, and from there to St. John, Newfoundland, which was cold, freezing cold. And then you're out in the cold. It's rough sea over there. There are waves that hit you in the face, you know, and you couldn't wipe it fast enough, it freezes. It was a bad thing, but I stuck to my guns and I learned what I could.
Yeah. Okay. I have here that you received 12 battle stars. Is that true?
Pardon?
The 12 battle stars?
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me what they are and how you received them?
Well, these I could give. The 12 battle stars was one campaign with 12 different places that we took, you know, that we covered. So first when we came from Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, we went to Wake Island. We did a little bit of shooting over there. We had taken it earlier and they lost it. The Japanese took it again. And we were covering the aircraft carriers with destroyers. And we had to cover them and shoot down what you could, you know. That's when we had our first taste of war. You know?
Yeah.
And then from there we went to the Marshall Islands, Rabaul. See, these are the stars now. Rabaul, Anawita, Kwajalein. There's about 5 of them from that one group of islands. And then from there we move over to the Gilbert Islands. There was Kwajalein, I can't remember most of them. There's a group of 5 islands. Again, we covered the Marines and
Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima.
Huh?
Iwo Jima,
No,
Guadalcanal.
I missed that one.
Yeah?
When they did the Iwo Jima, we were heading for Guam. in Saipan. They split it. It was Guam, Saipan, Tinian. That was the Marshall Islands. And these are four of the stars again that goes on that ribbon there. That's just on that one ribbon. The others is something different.
Is there one that has more importance to you?
Well, the Asiatic Pacific, that's the one that you're, this was the one that we had the most, because we were new at it, and it was hard to learn everything, you know, and then concentrate on, you're out there to shoot some planes, so when they're coming at you, not funny, you know, but,
No.
you gotta sit there quiet, and I actually enjoyed it. To see something coming out of the air and try to hit a ship and to knock him out of the skies, it's a good feeling, really.
Okay.
Very good feeling.
Okay. What was it like serving on the USS Kidd?
It was, well, the only destroyer is a small ship, you know, and there's really no groups together, you know, and stuff. It's not like that. You stick to what you gotta do, and they stick to what they have to do. And there's not much.
No fun?
I never had many friends there that I could call real friend. You know.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Let's see.
They were just acquaintance, you know. And when they rang the bell, you went to cook your guns, sat down, get the gun started, get everything hooked up, and you just wait for your assignment on your phone. So,
Yeah. So you were the gunner on the ship for your whole time?
yeah, well, whenever they had general quarters, we
Yeah.
call it GQ, you know, battle stations, right? But other than that, then when we were in the real close area, we went in from sunrise. The Japanese had a way of coming out of the sun. Close to the ground, so the radar couldn't pick them up.
Yeah.
They came low. You could hear them, boo, like that. They'd be like 10, 15 at a time in the clip. And when they came in the ship, towards the ship, as soon as they saw the fleet, they split and they tried to go between ships. So that we actually trying to shoot them, but shoot our own ship.
Yeah.
You try to get through to crossfire.
How many ships were there usually together?
And on that little squad that we had, I'd say about 6 destroyers and 1 or 2 aircraft carriers. They each carried 88 planes. That's a landing ship. They carried landing field. Right? We had to protect the carriers, and they would bombard the islands, and then we'd keep shooting down planes, protect the aircraft carriers. And then once it get too close, then they would pull out a little bit, and then that's when the Marines came in. Then our job shifted from protecting the ship to protecting the Marines to land on the islands. And boy, that was,
All right. Did you ever wish you could do something else that you weren't maybe the gunman, or was there another job you would have
yeah,
preferred?
we did that every morning until it was safe from, from the sunrise there, right? Then we did the same thing at night at sunset. They came out of out from the sun, to blind you, and we would shoot between there. And then after that again, then you could leave your battle station and you go eat breakfast or whatever. And then they would call general quarters when we get attacked.
Yeah.
So
Wow. So it was a normal day like on the ship? Stressful? You're waiting for like a bell to ring,
sitting
or
down,
sitting down?
finding a target and zeroing on, you can't even blink,
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so then what was, were you on the ship when it was hit by the kamikaze?
Well, though for a while, you only get off the ship for about maybe 6 months, something like that.
Dad,
Then you
she
pull,
asked you the day you got hit, were you on a ship?
yeah,
What was that like?
but that was, I was in the gun, you know,
Yeah.
so that's what saved me.
Oh,
I was,
it's
I
around,
was
okay.
battle station, yeah.
Wow. Did you know anybody that was injured from
Well,
that?
I was there actually. I stayed a couple of days and then I put in a request to go to another ship because they were asking, there was a ship next to us, USS Black, and they wanted gunners in the Orso, and I was trained for that, and we couldn't use the gun anymore.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trained for medical to help wounded. So I asked the captain, I said, sir, if it's okay with you, I would like to go and finish the war and help out the best way that I can. And I says, I would just be in the way here. I can't train at a wounded man.
Yeah.
So they took the ship, took off, and they went on another island. They got help from different ships. They went to another hospital, and then they put the guys at the hospital. And everybody was doing nothing for a few months there. But I didn't like that. I wanted to be in on it.
Yeah. So did you end up changing to the other ship, or they didn't let you?
I put on, as a matter of fact, as soon as I got on the USS Black, the sister ship, I tried to find out what I was supposed to do for work, you know. And so one of the officers says, well, he says, you belong in the fireman one, in the fire room number 1. And it surprised me because that's what I was in on the other one.
Same
So
job.
then for the battle station, I hadn't got that figured out yet. And I knew where I was supposed to work. For battle station, where do I go? So one of the guys said, you go to gun 2. He's you're the gun trader. Same station.
Same exact thing.
Exactly the same. If I woke up in the middle of the night, I will know which ship that was on.
Okay. Were the ships similar? Like built the same
Yeah,
areas
well,
and all that?
The kid was, that was, well, you'll see there, they nicknamed him the pirate, you know, because we were always going at it all the time. The captain was a fighting man, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we pick up survivors, drop them back to their old ship, come back, pick up the more, and it just went on and on, day and night.
Do you remember anyone that you served on the ship with?
Pardon?
Do you remember, people that you served with while you were on the ship?
A few of them. Just the one that I remember the most, just one that we were close, but no, they didn't want you to get too close because somebody gets killed, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember him, so that's the last. The rest of the crew, I don't remember anything. I remember this guy, I was coming out, going to my battle station, the gun, you know, coming out the fire room. He was standing right there, and he looked at me kind of funny. He put his hand on my leg like this, and he hit me. He says, "Go get him, Tiger." That's the last thing that he said. I don't know what happened to him.
No. Oh, that's awful. What was a typical day like on the ship? Just wake up, wait for the bell, eat, and
I didn't get that.
what was a typical day like on the ship?
What I was like?
Yeah.
Well, you did a little bit of reading,
Downtime? Did you have a lot of downtime?
off time, you know, lay in the sun a little bit, you know. And the South Pacific, when we get there, it was warm.
Yeah.
And the Atlantic was cold.
Oh yeah. Did you suffer any injuries while you were enlisted? No? Oh, you were lucky.
No?
Yeah.
Went in one day, I came out one day.
Okay. Did you earn any titles while you were there? Like any ranks? Any titles or ranks while you were in?
That's the third class petty officer. That's an E4. You work up your way up the ranks.
Okay, okay. Do you remember your officers?
Well, the captain of the kid I remember really good.
How did he
was-
treat you?
This was at the beginning of, then after that, then he got transferred. Then they rated him to an admiral, and he went to the Bureau of Naval Personnel. Then I didn't see after that. Most of the officers were all dead. The bridge got hit.
Wow.
And but then when I left, I went on the black, and that became my home.
Yeah. All right. When you first joined, what was it? What was the transitioning period like from civilian life to military life?
A lot of my time was spent reading some books, trying to learn English.
Yeah.
A lot of my time was doing that, but
Did you have anyone help you with that? No.
no.
No. They probably couldn't understand you. Right?
Yeah. No, I could, as I went along, I picked up more,
Yeah.
First they did some of it with the accent, they'd make jokes about it, stuff like that, not in a bad way,
Yeah.
but a little bit,
Mhm.
And it hurt me a little bit
Yeah.
first, But then as I went on, I found out that I figure if they're gonna make fun of me, I'll make fun of myself,
Mhm.
And I tried that, it worked, It worked in my favor.
That's good. Okay. What was the food like, or even the sleeping conditions while you were in there?
Yeah. See, I can't think quick,
Oh no, take your
Yeah.
time.
Uh,
Was the food awful, or?
no, then we went to Pearl Harbor, get some supplies and things, There was a little bit of rest, and then we came back again, and that went on for 3 years,
Wow. Mhm. What types of materials did you carry with your uniform every day? Like something that you had on you every day?
No, just nothing.
Just your uniform?
I made myself a sword, out of a file, I spent a lot of time doing that, filing that, made into a real nice.
Oh wow.
So I made up my mind that somebody's gonna try to catch me, you'd have to fight for it,
Yeah.
And I kept that with me all the time, but that's
They
the only
didn't.
thing
They
that-
didn't give out regular guns to you guys.
No, we used it,
Mhm.
but it wasn't yours to.
Oh okay.
You didn't have a special one.
Oh wow. Okay. What kind of pressure did you feel?
Going back to that, you asked me what it was feel like and everything.
Yeah.
So the captain, right?
Mhm.
This is when he was still with us on the ship, before he got transferred, before he became an admiral. And this guy he would tackle anything and anybody. He'd been through Naval Academy, became an officer, worked his way up to full captain, and then to command in that ship for a while. And a few, maybe like a month later or something, we got into with a Japanese ship again, and we sank a couple planes, went down, and we picked up one survivor. So we dragged in a couple sailors, jumped overboard, and they went and pushed him up, and he grabbed a rope and tried to push him up there, and as he got his head above, even with the deck, by then the captain was there, and a couple of our men says, well, he tried to get rid of that Jap, and he says, captain says, I'll take care of it. So we didn't want to do that because he was too valuable.
Wow.
So when the guy did that, as soon as he got his head above, he reached down, he pulled a gun for they had like a skirt, I guess they wore, like a diaper, the Japanese do. He didn't put it. They would start off with a wide band of stuff they wrapped around their legs all the way up, back and forth, back and forth. And that's what they wore. Then he had like a pair of, when he pulled out a gun and he tried to shoot the captain, the next thing you know, the gun went flying. He yanked it out of it and he threw it over the side, a long ways. And then the guy, he worked his way up, and everybody hollered that, you know, they were going to help the captain's noises. He put his hand up and I says, oh, he's got to take a beating. The guy Jap put on that, he tried a little bit and a couple of judo chop and he went down. And he could barely move and he did his job on him. Very good job on it. Then I remember he grabbed him by the neck and by the legs and he went like this on his knee, the captain to the Jap, you know. And he couldn't move, he stayed right there. We didn't let go, you'd move. He figured he had enough, I guess. I did stay around, I had to go back to my battle station that day.
Yeah.
And after that, jeez.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, for fun, moving on to fun, did you see any of the entertainment shows that they offered? I know they had like the USS show and stuff, celebrities or anything. Did you ever see any of those? No?
No.
Too serious. Okay.
When we went on board on the land, on a piece of land in an island, there was hardly anything there. You walk around and I remember feeling how good it felt to walk on land.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk straight, you walk like this.
Yeah, you have sea legs.
Yeah, and I'd stop in front of a window, a store or something, and pretend to look at something in the window. And I'd be trying to walk straight when I leave, you know, but I couldn't, I go side to side. And I didn't drink, so, you know, they could have thought I was drunk.
Yeah.
And that was a bad feeling there, you know, for a while.
Yeah.
But then you get used to it, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I remember you said you get a few months of leave. What did you do when you received your leave?
Go to, when we went on Liberty, on the island, you mean?
When you received leave, like to go home?
Oh, we didn't.
You didn't.
No, I
Nothing at
haven't been
all?
home for 3 years. So
Oh wow. Okay.
I see. I was a determined sailor, you know.
Yeah.
I was there for one thing, that's what I want to do.
Wow. Did you ever want to go home?
Well, we were too far.
Interview, so they're
You know, we get out of California, I live in Maine, 3,500 miles away.
Okay.
So,
I'll call you back.
I didn't get no furloughs all the way through.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hard. Did you keep a journal or a diary on you?
Okay, hon. Thanks. Love you too. Bye.
Did you keep a journal while you were there? No diary, nothing?
No.
You just read a lot?
Well, you write a few letters home, but
Yeah.
by the time they got it, it's a bunch of hole full of holes, you know.
Yeah. Who did you
The,
keep in contact with?
Well, my parents, you know, my sisters, and they cut out things. If you name the name of a place or something, they cut that out. They all cut out holes. They were when you opened it up, it looked like a funny
Oh,
one.
wow. Well, that's awful. Okay.
And so you couldn't see anything, you know,
Yeah.
where you were or nothing. Your address was Fleet Post Office, and that was it. And then the post office, the Navy Fleet Post Office picked up the letters, and then they had the address. They put it in a regular envelope mailing to you, wherever it was going.
Wow.
So then you see it slipped from the lip, could sink a ship.
Yeah.
That was the big
Yeah.
thing that World War II, you know.
Okay. And let's see. Do you recall your worst day? Did you have a worst day, like a very bad
Well,
day?
the day that you get hit, that was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of, the worst days was when I was getting seasick. And in the cold water in the Atlantic there.
Yeah, that's hard.
So that was the worst day every day.
Was it hard battling your seasickness while also trying to fight at the same time?
Keep throwing up
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
It was rough. But when we crossed, then we crossed and the equator, we crossed the Panama Canal, and we crossed the Panama Canal, then we went to the South Pacific. There it was warm, and that was different.
Okay. Did you see a typhoon?
Yeah, typhoon.
What was that like?
The waves are 60, were recorded the waves 61 inches high. And
61
You
feet,
have to-
Dad.
you had to run into it. You can't go, if you turn, go around, you'll capsize.
Yeah. And is this when all the ships were still in a row like that?
Yeah.
So they all would have crashed into each other?
Yeah, no, they was zigzag pattern.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They actually lost a
But,
couple that capsized. That's why I wrote that.
And then if we were heading for a certain island, and the Japs know that, so they would catch your bearing wherever you're going. See if you're heading west, right? They thought we were good to the Philippines, we were heading west, right? So they would head that way, but we would zigzag the pattern. We'd go southwest 15 minutes and then northwest 15 minutes.
Try to trick them.
Like that, a zigzag pattern. So whatever they're pulling you, you might be going this way. They wouldn't want to go straight. In the meantime, we're going straight.
That's smart.
Yeah,
Very smart.
but they'd catch up with us.
Eventually. Yeah. Okay. Did you ever have a really good day? Maybe nothing bad happened?
No,
'Cause every day was just the same.
no, I was thankful
Yeah.
that to be alive, and I never. In other words, I never bitch about it. Ever, even to this day, if I was sent to jail, I go back again.
Would you?
I wouldn't
Wow.
hesitate.
It's dedication.
So I came out that way, same way.
Okay. And when was your last official day of service?
That's what,
Your last day of service?
oh, my last day. Okay, well, there's another story to that.
Sure.
When, let's see, when the war was over, but when you volunteer for a certain amount of time, and mine was the duration of the war plus 3 months. Whichever comes, whichever come first. And when I got my papers to get my discharge, then I went off the ship to a receiving station, San Pedro, California, Naval Separation Center. I went there for a day, and then they told me that they had assigned me to another ship, another destroyer. They would have been the third one. And when I reported there with my papers, the captain of the ship, he looked at that, he saw what we were through, he says, no, he said, we can't take you. He says, go on a furlough or something. You're free until you get your papers to go home, So I says, I live 3,500 miles from here, Maine. He said, who said you had to go to Maine? He says, a lot of girls in California. And he says, don't just go, and then he says, report to us once a week, and when your papers come, he says, we'll let you know. So I had bought an old car, and $300 piece of junk. It burned it like Al Capone's car. There's smoke coming out of that. But after the war, you couldn't buy a car.
Yeah.
You had to get whatever. So I got that thing, and I took off with it. And I headed south, headed for Los Angeles. And I kept going. and I saw a little sign in the road that said Pomona, with a finger going like that, and another one that said Ramona, pointing the other way, 20 miles, 20 miles. Then to myself, I said, now where do I go now? So I flipped the coin, I'm all alone in the car, right? Flipped the coin, and I went to Pomona. I get in there, it's about like it was early in the morning, I think. And there, and I saw a sign, unemployment office. I had never heard of that. We worked, there was no such thing. So I saw that, so I went in, curiosity, to see what it was all about. Then I told him what happened. I said, I'm off for 3 months before I pick up my papers to go home. And so I said, I'd like to find a room. He says, he says, you could live at the YMCA, so, but he says it's gonna cost you. He said 85 cents a day.
Wow.
85 cents a day for guys. Then I got out, I got that room, got all set up. Then I went down, I saw a little restaurant, a small diner. I figured, well, I'll go wash dishes or something. So I went in there, so the woman says, it was an old couple from Russia, an old couple that owned it. And the old lady says, do you mind washing dishes? I said, no, I said, I love it then. She says, well, you can come in at 10 to 2 every day. She's got all your bills, and we'll give you a $5 bill.
Oh, wow.
Now, in those days, when I left Maine to go to the Navy, I was making $1 an hour.
No,
That's,
big difference.
yeah, so he says you get, so I took that. I went to YMCA, stayed there, and I got a job. Then I look around with the car, learn little towns, stuff like that. I went to Hollywood, I went to Los Angeles, places like that. Killing time in daytime.
You're an adventurer.
That was a pretty damn good job, you know.
Yeah. Okay. What about after the 3 months was up and you got your papers? Did you go right home? What did you do?
No, I stayed at other Wondershore, California.
Okay.
I got to like California.
You did like. How long did you end up staying?
So I stayed there, and then I went to an employment office there, and they said, I told them I was out of the Navy, and my plans was to stay in California, and I wanted to get a job. The guy says, well, he says, I'll tell you what, he says, according to this, you were working in the fire room and the engine room on board the ship, right? He says, the closest we have to match you to whatever you can do, you qualify for. And he says, that would put you right, you look like this, and he says, that would put you right on the Western Pacific Railroad. So he says, you can learn to be an engineer, and he says, your job, as long as you want it. But I went home.
Yeah. What was it like returning home after all that time?
It was, well, my parents, they weren't a close-knit family. It was felt good to be home. Your sister was there, your brother. And, I got a job the day after I went there. I went back to work.
So it was like you never left.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Then I got a job, then I learned my cousin was a taxi driver there. And I'd go on him, we looked alike, you know, and I would take his car and then his little picture of the back, taxi driver, to look almost like him, you know. So I'd go take some calls for him, and I learned to cab driving. And then I became a cab driver on the weekends. I do down the weekends, and I'd work at shipyard, lumber yard and stuff like that.
Wow. Was it hard to readjust to normal life, to civilian life?
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was all right. Then after I lived there 5 years, then I moved to Connecticut.
Been here ever since?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the government help you in any way? I mean, I know you said the unemployment, they didn't help you get a
I
job
could
or
have had it
anything?
if I wanted to. I went, no,
You didn't want it?
no, it was a matter of pride, you know.
Yeah.
I don't believe in living out the government. Don't, didn't even draw an employment office.
Mm-hmm.
They had a thing for veterans when you come out. They call it 5220. It was the other nickname for it. 52 weeks you could draw $20 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only making 40, like working, you know, but I kept working. I didn't take that. And it would give you $20 a week.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of pride.
Yeah. No, I understand. All right. Did you end up joining are you in a veterans organization or anything like that? No, you just
No.
don't want to? Or?
No, I draw Social Security for, you know, until I was 65,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went back to work. You know.
Did you ever, I know you said you had a lot of jobs, were they, any of them military related after that, or? No?
I went in construction work and I stayed there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my son did the same thing. When he got 17, I took him in training,
Mm-hmm.
and he did it for 30 years and retired. He's retired also.
How do you think your military experience changed you as a person?
I was the only bad part when I came home. I couldn't sleep in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like choking. You know, I could never put my head on the pillow. I was too used to sleeping on the deck. You know.
Yeah.
I slept on the deck. So when they sound the general alarm for your battle stations, I was from here to the back door, go up a few steps and jump in the gun. I'm ready. You know.
Yeah.
And so I slept on that deck. So when I came home, it was hard to learn to sleep on the bed. Very hard.
Yeah. Did you have nightmares or anything like that? No? Well, that's
No.
lucky. Okay. Were your opinions on the war or the military influenced by everything you saw?
No, I did hear that.
Was your opinion on the war or the military affected after you served?
Oh no, I'm proud of the military. I'd love to be back in there again.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's either you're one way or the other, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. Do you attend any reunions or anything where you see any people that you served with, or no?
No.
So you haven't seen or talked to anyone? No? Okay. How did the service affect your life overall?
Good, yeah.
You think you
Yeah, I'm
made you a
proud.
better person?
I'm proud of it too, yeah.
Yeah. What's your proudest achievement?
Well, like holidays, you know, like yesterday, stuff like that, right now.
Yeah, Happy Veterans Day.
It's, that's the way I was.
Yeah. Is there anything that, when you talk about your experience, that you like to share with people? Anything in specific? Like a story, maybe? That you always tell everyone, or?
No. No, not really.
No? Okay.
I don't think you'd want to hear it. No,
Is there anything you'd like to add?
no.
No?
It's a dull life, really. I mean, I don't have a colorful or fun life. It was all my life was work. You know,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
job was number one.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that concludes everything I have to ask you. So thank you for your time.
Okay, you're welcome. It's just that it makes it a lot of things that I can't Here we go, you know.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. It's completely fine.
Well, it makes it hard on you, you know.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to share? Any memories, pictures, anything?
Got some pictures on the wall there, if you want to look at them, you know.
Okay. All right, we'll do that. Thank you so much.
Is it off?
Shut it off.
What I'll do